and many of you I've worked with in the past, but my research program is really broadly around the area of stormwater and streams, and specifically working a lot with green infrastructure, natural stream restoration, and those types of things. And for those of you that aren't, I'm not sure why there's one more picture that didn't show up in there, but we're looking at low impact development and looking at trying to remove the hydrologic, or to change the hydrologic cycle back to pre-development conditions basically, or move close to that by using different tools on the landscape so that we can mimic the site hydrology or come as close to that as we can. And a lot of times we're trying to use a design goal to manage our stormwater so that our post-development runoff is equal to our pre-development runoff. Other design goals may be to treat the first inch of runoff or that type of thing. So we're working towards that. And since I've gotten to OU, been thinking a lot more interdisciplinary on this, and have been developing this concept of a LID continuum of contributors. And it goes all the way from engineers over here on one end that are looking at structural and geotechnical, water quantity and some water quality, moving into geologists and environmental scientists. And as we move into that, we're starting to do some water quality stuff. We're looking at habitat, and we're getting into our biologists and our horticulturalists. And along with the habitat, we're looking at some aesthetics, and then we're moving into the landscape architects, and they're bringing us a sense of place so that the folks are taking ownership in their area where we're using our low impact development. And then when we're moving to the end, which is really the end point that we want to have, is our widespread implementation and acceptance of these natural ways for managing stormwater. We really need to get the urban planners and the policy folks and the economists and the other social scientists involved in that. And so in order for us to reach this end goal of widespread implementation of green infrastructure, it really takes this whole suite of interdisciplinary folks working together, and we need to start that on the research end when we're doing stuff. So to that end, this past fall, we started pulling together this OU team to work with green infrastructure, with folks from architecture and landscape architecture, civil engineering and environmental science, environmental sustainability, the biological survey, the water survey, and urban planning. And this is probably just the start of what we're going to do, but we're working towards getting a dialogue going so that we can continue to be leaders in the area of green infrastructure in Oklahoma. So to that end, we've started to create some learning communities. Great Plains LID is a new website that we've adopted at the Oklahoma Water Survey. And we're continuing this biannual series of workshops that we put on the Great Plains LID Research and Innovation Symposium that's going to be in Fort Collins, Colorado next summer, June 24th to the 26th, where we're working in concert with the other Great Plains cities. And to that end, we're working on a lot of projects. I'm not going to go into any of them specifically, but I'd be happy to chat with you during the breaks on some of them. We're working on design criteria with the city of Tulsa, with the COMCD and the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. We're doing some work on using floating wetlands as floating wave breaks, basically, to reduce shoreline erosion. We're doing some really cool stuff with that. Media additives to enhance pollutant removal, whether it be on bioretention cells or green roofs or with pervious pavement, so we're working with some of that. We're working with compost filter socks and looking at nutrient leaching with there, and we got some partners with some companies that have been donating filter socks for us. We're just getting ready to start out at the GRDA in collaboration with OCC and OWRB. We just put in some really cool research bioretention cells that I think there's some real potential to do some groundbreaking research on the role of underdrains in treating bioretention, and they're going to be putting new asphalt on that parking lot soon, so I think there's going to be some PAH opportunities at that site. Some other things that are probable based upon some incoming grad students that we got going on with the pathogen indicators, resiliency and optimization in natural stream restoration. So those are some other ideas that we have coming on. And then there's a lot of other potential ideas, things that I've worked on in the past that I'd love to continue, and there's a lot of other things that we can do. So if you have interest in runoff management, I think there's some things that we can do together. Thank you. So